Freddie Wills here from FreddieWills.com. Here's my video for this week's premium play. Again, make sure you check out FreddieWills.com where I have all my premium plays up. Also check out the podcast. You can do so by searching on iTunes, College Football Betting, #1 podcast out there. Give out more college football winners there as well. And today we're talking about the Boston College versus Florida State matchup. Boston College was on our sell high list for this week's podcast, which you can find by visiting FreddieWills.com or searching, like I mentioned, on iTunes. Boston College has covered this spread by more than 14 points in back-to-back weeks and have been impressive in doing so against good teams in Louisville and Virginia these past 2 weeks. Boston College got their running game going in both games, which is obviously the reason why they win. Usually when Boston College wins, they're able to run the ball. 237 yards and 364 yards in back-to-back games. You know, in my opinion, against Florida State, they're going to have to do the same thing, and I expect a very big challenge against Florida State. Now, Florida State ranks similar to Boston College's recent opponents in run defense. They rank 44th in yards per carry allowed. Louisville ranks 50th, and Virginia ranks 56th. So, on paper, you would say that Florida State's defense is really going to have a challenge stopping Boston College, who just ran over 200 yards in the last 2 games. But again, I think that's reflected in the line. I think we're getting really good line value here with Florida State because of recency bias. I think I think Florida State's a top 20 defense, especially when they get to go up against a one-dimensional attack. And we're going to break down a little bit of the run defense, about some of the run defenses that Boston College just was able to face. When I look at the recent opponents, you look at Virginia, who ranks 56th against the run, but their average opponent ranking for rushing offense is ranked 92nd. When you look at Louisville, they've played an average opponent rank of 72nd in rushing offense. Florida State has actually faced 3 top 30 rushing offenses with an overall 44th ranking. So I think Florida State's defense can dominate in this game, really shut down this Boston College offense, much like they did to Duke on the road 2 weeks ago, holding them to 10 points. Offensively is where Florida State has struggled this year, and we have to bring it up. Florida State, however, is finally playing good defense. Boston College ranking 112th versus the run, and obviously Florida State, which has an inexperienced quarterback in James Blackman. Blackman actually cost them their last game against Louisville, which they were driving to kick a field goal to win the game. He ends up pulling back an option and fumbling the ball, and then Louisville had a minute to play to bring the ball back and kick the field goal. So, obviously, I think Jimbo Fisher's not going to leave the ball in Blackman's hands this week as much. Now, Florida State did lose their junior running back, Jacquez Patrick. But overall, he's more of like a power guy. I think the move to freshman Cam Akers, who's going to get a lot more of the carries, is going to be a big difference maker this week. I think Florida State's offense needs something explosive. I think they need to run the ball significantly more than they pass, which is what Jimbo tends to do on the road here. And I think that's what's going to happen in this game. And when you look at it, Florida State has faced some very good run defenses. Let's look at the 6 run defenses they've faced. The #1 overall run defense, the number 14, number 41, 58, 55, and 50th ranked run defenses. And number 58 was Miami, who I think we all can agree is better at stopping the run than that. The last thing we have to look at here, and just a reminder, as I mentioned at the start of this video, Boston College ranks 112th versus the run, which actually is pretty surprising. The last thing that we have to talk about here is motivation. We definitely have to look at it from the perspective. No doubt, Florida State had higher hopes this year. I mean, they came into the season ranking number 2 in the country, and they lost to Alabama in a tough-fought game. Many would argue that they outplayed Alabama in that game, and it just, unfortunately, the turnovers were too much to overcome. And, of course, they lose their quarterback, Francois, in that game, and Blackman's taken over. I don't think I've noticed an increase in Blackman's play. He has a nice arm, nice throw. He doesn't always make the best decisions, but again, I think they're going to concentrate on running the game this week. Florida State's actually playing a lot of younger players now on offense. It's pivotal that they get to a bowl game and get that extra practice play. I think Jimbo Fisher knows that. He's a very good coach, and I think this is a must-win for this team. I don't think they're gonna be the type to fold up, and give up on the season. I'm not really concerned with the short week either because they do have to travel. This game's on Friday night. Fisher typically, again, like I said, concentrates on running the ball on the road, which is what this team should have been doing all along. That's where their strength is on offense. Offense has been what has been holding this team back, and now they get to go on the road, concentrate on the rushing offense against a bad run defense. I think their defense holds Boston College to 10 to 14 points, maybe 17, and I think this offense scores in the 30s possibly. So at the end of the day, Florida State -3, -3.5. Whatever you can get, 3% bankroll play, very confident in it. So make sure you tune in next week for another premium play. You can check out my Friday commute podcast. Again, iTunes or whatever podcast app you look at. Just search either college football betting or football betting, and I should be the #1 podcast that comes up. Last week we gave out Missouri as a play on the podcast. We're 5-2 against the spread on those podcast plays. 4 of those wins have been 3 touchdown against the spread covers. We've been easily covering those games, so definitely tune in to that podcast, and you can subscribe to my premium newsletter pick that comes out each week at FreddieWills.com. Thanks again for listening, and good luck this week.